Welcome to Med Lecto. Today I'm gonna teach you about the structures of the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane, which is also called the semi-permeable membrane, because it allows selective molecules to pass through it. Plasma membrane actually so small that we can't see it through naked eye, and so that we have to use electron microscope for its components present in it. Let's see. uh, Plasma membrane, before we see it through the electron microscope, we use the fixative, which is the osmium tetroxide. We first of all fixate tissues with osmium tetroxide, and we see the structure of the plasma membrane as this one: dark areas, light areas, dark areas. As plasma membrane contains phospholipids and proteins mainly. Here you can see the structure of the plasma membrane. This is the outside. This is the area which is present outside the cell, and this is the area which is present in inside of the cell. Here you can see that the phospholipids membrane, which is outside and inside of the cell, having a structure which is hydrophilic. It means water loving, and between them is a structure which is hydrophobic, right? When we use osmium tetroxide, osmium has affinity to the attachment of the hydrophilic areas of the membrane, and hydrophobic areas will not attach with the osmium, so that when electron pass through the electron microscope, osmium absorb most of the electrons, and they show the dark areas, right? Because electron absorb, and due to the absorptions of the electron, we see the dark areas, and through the phobic areas electron pass through it, and we see the bright areas, right? Actually, these dark areas having thickness of 2.5 nanometer. This is also 2.5 nanometer. This is also 2.5 nanometer. So overall thickness of the cell membrane or plasma membrane will be 7.5. Here you can see the overall thickness of the plasma membrane will be 7.5 nanometers. Let's see the components of the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane having different components like phospholipids, cholesterol, proteins, and carbohydrates. We discuss these components one by one. First one is the phospholipid. Phospholipids having the structure like this. You can see it. This is the polar areas or hydrophilic. It means water loving. And here you can see the two tails, which is the non-polar areas, which is hydrophobic in nature, water repellent. In polar areas, three components are present in it. First one is the glycerol, second one is the phosphate, and third one is the nitrogenous compounds. Nitrogenous compounds mainly present three nitrogenous compounds. First one is serine, second one is choline, and third one is ethanol amine. So this is basically the nitrogenous components, and this is the non-polar areas contains only fatty acid in pairs, right? So this is the basic structure of the phospholipid. Here you can see the how phospholipids arrange in the plasma membrane. Here is the extracellular space. It means outside of the cell, and here you can see the intracellular space. This is extracellular and this is portion intracellular, right? And as I have discussed that the hydrophilic areas of the phospholipid will remain either extracellular or intracellular, but the hydrophobic areas will be embedded between hydrophilic areas, right? But next one is the cholesterol. Cholesterol are present in the plasma membrane, like see, like this. Cholesterol may be present in the plasma membrane. It provides the stability, right? This is the cholesterol. If the cholesterol level increase, then the fluidity of the plasma membrane will diminish, because the concentration of the cholesterol inhibit the fluidity of the plasma membrane, right? And next is the proteins. Proteins actually present in two different forms. It can either be integral protein or peripheral protein. Integral proteins means they are embedded in plasma membrane either completely or partially. Here you can see that this is the protein, which are completely embedded. It means this is outside of the cell and this is inside, and they are completely embedded in the plasma membrane. Here you can see another protein which are not completely embedded in the plasma membrane. Like this protein is outside and this protein is inside. So these proteins are partially embedded in it, right? The completely embedded proteins also called, this is the completely embedded protein, also called the transmembrane protein, because it crosses the overall phospholipids. And the transmembrane protein also present in different form. They can be either in one pass and multiple pass. As we know, plasma protein, normally proteins, are composed of different amino acids present in it. Here you can see that this protein, here is the protein, and they completely embedded in the plasma membrane, but it only one pass, okay? Right? It only first time or one time pass through the plasma membrane. So this is the one pass protein, and if it, like here you can see another protein which first of all move outward and then again inward. So this is multiple, there is multiple chances of the protein which can pass or cross through the plasma membrane. So this is the multiple pass protein, right? These are actually the transmembrane protein or completely embedded. As you can see, these are completely embedded. So actually these proteins are present in a mosaic manner. Mosaic manner means that they embedded in the plasma membrane. Due to these bases, a model which is called the fluid mosaic model was introduced after the discovery of the structure of the plasma membrane. And next is the carbohydrate. Carbohydrates, mainly the oligosaccharides, are present in the plasma membrane. They occur in two different situations. Here you can see the oligosaccharides or carbohydrates. First of all, the carbohydrate attached to the protein, and if the carbohydrate attached to the protein, then it is called glycoprotein, right? This is the glycoprotein. And if the carbohydrate attached to the lipid area, then it will form glycolipid, right? It has different functions as it involved in the recognition of the cell and attachment of the different hormone further, which we will discuss next. So this is the glycoproteins and the glycolipids. Let's see what is the glycocalyx or cell core. If when we consider both glycolipid and glycoprotein as combined, then it forms a structure which is called the glycocalyx or cell core. Here you can see that this is the plasma membrane, right? And here you can see different proteins embedded in it, right? And this is the portion of the glycoproteins or glycolipid. If the carbohydrate attached with the lipids area, then it is called the glycolipids, and if it attached with the protein area, then it is called the glycoprotein. And they form several carbohydrates attached to the surface of the plasma, and they form a different layer. Here you can see a different layer which is called glycocalyx, right? A lot of the students get confused what is glycocalyx, glycoprotein and glycolipids. So this is the same, right? If we consider both glycolipids and glycoprotein as a combined, then it forms a glycocalyx. Important point, carbohydrate will always away from the cytoplasm, right? Here is the plasma membrane, and carbohydrates will attach to it outside, right? It not attached to the inside of the plasma membrane. It will always outside. But in organelles also have the same structure as the outer membrane of the cell. Here you can see an organelle which is called mitochondria, right? In that situation, carbohydrate will be inside of the organelles, inside of the mitochondria, but it will not present to the outside of the membrane, right? So what is the functions of the glycocalyx? Glycocalyx are involved in the recognition of the cell, cell association and cellular receptor. Let's see how. Enterocytes, which are actually the cells of the intestine. Here is the small intestine having different enterocytes in it. As we know, the enterocytes having different structure, which is called villi, right? So different villi are present on the surface of the enterocytes, right? And enterocytes, as we know that here I show you, this is the structure of the enterocytes having different microvilli, and here it forms a glycocalyx over it, right? So it forms a glycocalyx, and it has different enzymes in it which help in the digestion of the different proteins and the carbohydrate. Protein and carbohydrate, right? And this an endothelium which is present in the blood vessels having different enzymes in it, which can be angiotensin converting enzyme, right? Angiotensin converting enzyme, antithrombin 3, and different lipid, which provide in different situation, and it will help in the control of the blood pressure. If you have any question, then you may ask in comment section. Thank you.